Ledger Nano updates their firmware. SVio Holdings buys the majority of a cryptocurrency hardware wallet company. Chinese regulators suggest that blockchains function better when they're centralized. We take a look at the top 20 coins and how they've fallen from their all-time highs. And Neo takes the FUD to task, trying to explain some of the recent allegations and doubts surrounding the project. We got all your headlines and some daily market analysis. Your FUD TV daily update starts now. So there's nothing nice about this. We've taken a dive. We were up above the 460 mark here. We've taken a dive down to a 437 total market cap, with Bitcoin dominance sagging a little bit from the 42% it was at yesterday. Now we see Bitcoin taking an almost 8% tumble here. Definitely not what we wanted to see, but again, we warned that this was looking like it was likely. We just can't seem to get above 12K. That's really the resistance, the sort of 11.8 to 12K range. It's just that's where we hit all the sell walls and the bears really come out around there. So that's where this is the big drop that happened. Was Bitcoin tumbled quite a bit in market cap. We had it almost at 200 billion yesterday, and now we're seeing it down at 181. More red as we scroll down. Almost everything's in the red here. Almost everything. Obviously, we did a little video earlier on Walton Chain and why they're in the green, but as you can see, they're getting pulled back here. We were all the way above $27 earlier today, and now we're getting pulled back to 24. Again, this could be more to do with the market as a whole than to do with Walton Chain. But, you know, regardless, we're seeing a little bit of this exuberance off of this Walton Chain partnership that we covered in the video this morning. And this, you know, just the general reaction to the sort of dip that happened a couple of days back that, you know, if you were asking this investor, wasn't really justified from their Twittergate scandal. So we have all red in the market. It's not looking good. We're seeing the Bitcoin dominance shrink as the market cap shrinks. And really the only winners here are Tether and Walton Chain. So yes, it's a red day. It's definitely a deep red day, and we're going to look for some really good news to help bring us out of this market, hopefully in the near future. On this extremely red day, I thought it would be interesting to go over and just check out a little list of how the top 20 coins have fared from their all-time highs. This was obviously made on the 6th of March, so at the time of recording this, this was sort of the general prices that we were looking at in both US dollar value as well as, yeah, this is done in US dollar value. So we're looking at this and we're saying that their all-time highs, you know, in reverse order, that Monero has actually fared the best on its drawdown value from its all-time high. It's only 28% off its all-time high. That's very interesting to me, as Monero is a blue chip. It's been around, it's got a huge community, very established. And the privacy aspect, as we're seeing more regulations come into play, might be the big draw here of people just being like, you know what, screw it, I don't want to pay these taxes, or whatever your reasons are. Anyway, so as we go down the list, I find it pretty interesting that Ethereum and Bitcoin have damn near the same percentage drops, 45, 42. I love that Monero is just really over-indexed, just so much more stable than the herd here. But then as we go down, we see that the big drop-offs came from ADA, NEM, and TRX. These are all, you know, all the ones above 70%, IOTA, Bitcoin Cash, Quantum, and Ripple. And the Bitcoin Gold, honestly, Bitcoin Gold I'd take off that list. I'd take Bitcoin Cash off that list. I'd take NEM off that list. And then we have TRX, ADA, XRP, and Quantum, IOTA. They're all, I mean, these are all phenomenal projects. I'm not going to go through the top 20 coins and tell you that they're good. Obviously, they're good coins. But, you know, you're looking at this. Obviously, we covered Tron a lot on this channel, but it's just good to know when you're investing into a coin where its ceiling was on consumer interest, on potential for market to reach a certain price. We've seen it get there before, means we could probably see it get there again. And if you're believing that the market will recover and that most of these top 20 coins, or if you believe in the exact top 20 coin that you're analyzing and you think it will have the future value to at least get back to its all-time high, this is a cool list to check out. It gives you a sense of what may or may not be a good buy. If you're looking to invest in one of these versus the other, this could help you make some decisions just looking at these percentage drawdowns. So we have word here that Ledger just updated their firmware, which will allow for up to 18 different apps to be downloaded on each device, depending on which cryptocurrencies you choose. They've modified the screen lock management. They also did some optimizations around the setup, where instead of just verifying 3 of your 24 words as it has done before, you'll have to verify all 24 of the words in your Ledger backup key. And then they've done a bunch of other optimizations. This is all really good, to be honest. What I'm waiting on is their announcement of the ADA Cardano wallet, so I could start saving or storing my Cardano a little bit more securely. But regardless, we love to see that Ledger is doing what they need to do and keeping the bugs out, keeping this thing secure, and really working to constantly iterate and make sure that Ledger becomes the real staple brand in securing your cryptocurrency. I know that it has done so far, and there's a close second in Trezor, but it seems like the predominating opinion is that Ledger is better. I have not tried Trezor, but it seems that Ledger is more popular, at least more trusted. So I would say that if Ledger keeps doing this would be good news for all Ledger holders and good news for the industry as a whole to see cybersecurity being put at the forefront of the industry. Svio Holdings just announced their desire to acquire 40% ownership in a Taiwanese cryptocurrency hard wallet maker called CoolBitX. So this is awesome because obviously, as we're just talking about with Ledger, cryptocurrency hard wallets are really a facet of this industry. Very few serious investors keep their crypto on a paper wallet. I'm not saying that none of them do, right? Some of them do, but a lot of them probably use cryptocurrency hard wallets for some or the majority of their coins. I know I do, and I know that it's very important not only to keep your secret key secret, but the beauty of these hardware wallets is that you don't even know your key. So that's one of the big ways is to protect you. You yourself can't even screw yourself over. So it's awesome to see this, just more investment into the space, more legitimate. Like you could say, oh, banks aren't buying Bitcoin, but they're buying cryptocurrency hard wallets and stuff like that. So you can see how these big investment companies are starting to pave the way towards widespread mainstream adoption in the form of investing in cryptocurrency hardware wallets as much as they are investing in the coins themselves. And in China, we have word that a regulator believes that from a technical point of view, the absolute decentralization of blockchain is not valid because the blockchain itself is a software and the software must be centralized. He said, according to the rough translation, therefore to build a decentralized system based on a centralized structure needs further study. Admittedly, some application scenarios may need to be decentralized, but whether all scenarios need to be decentralized requires careful consideration. This is just another installment in the story of China trying to really figure out how to deal with what is a very centralized society they have. They have a very centralized government-run, nationally run society in China that was historically communist. And it's obviously, even Eastern philosophy is very communal-based. It's community-based. It's the group is bigger than the individual in Eastern philosophy. And as you see in the governance of China, it's all about the group. It's not about the individual. And so, their ability to grapple with the concept of decentralization, even as a philosophical concept, is, you're seeing it being tested here with both lawmakers, and in practice, you're seeing the grappling with the need to have decentralization, its benefits, and where a very centralized, philosophically centralized, as well as governmentally centralized, as well as economically centralized civilization like China is really struggling to come into a new era where really people become their own islands. They become their own sort of financial providers and service providers and their own banks, and they can really grow economically in a powerful way as an individual, not as an entity. I think that China is really struggling with that, and we'll see continual sort of tug of war between the different schools of thought in China. Hopefully, we see a nice balance between private blockchains being used and more centralized private blockchains being used for the things that should be used for those centralized private blockchains, like maybe insurance and stuff, or in medical records. But then you have the decentralization around financial and other different things that there's more of an incentive to hack and mess with those things. So we'll see where this plays out. But again, we're following the China conversation very closely, as we do believe that the China conversation will have maybe not long-lasting, forever destructive repercussions on the cryptocurrency space. But we do believe that in the next 5 to 10 years, the moves that China make could either advance the adoption of cryptocurrency by tenfold or really slow it down by a few fold. So we'll see what happens here, and we will be following the story very closely. And finally, we're just going to go through very briefly a statement from Neo Dehongfei, the founder of Neo, who's been trying to explain some of this FUD. There was a big Twitter sort of novel put out by this random kid who I'm not going to show his Twitter profile. I'm not going to show anything because he pretty much was just fudding about these things that happen on the Neo blockchain that are well explained. If you understand or have been researching Neo, all the things we're about to go over have been really well explained. In fact, at the bottom of this article, they say the above information has been publicly addressed in speaking and written form in numerous situations on social media, industry conferences, community meetups across different continents. We are sorry to see that FUD is spreading among those who are not aware or agree with Neo's vision or philosophy. We hope these facts help people to understand Neo Council's standpoint on relative issues. I'm sorry, I can't read right now. The point of this is that this is all FUD. And we're going to go point by point really quick, but essentially some kid just put out some ridiculously fuddy tweet that with no backing up of the information, and Neo just came out and schooled them. But of course, all it takes is one squeaky wheel to catch all the grease in this cryptocurrency world, and all of a sudden we have FUD and people echoing opinions that aren't true across social media, and you get sell-offs and other things. And then you even saw that the Weiss ratings downgraded Neo to a B+. There's a few things to unwind here. We're going to get into it right now. We're not going to go through the DBFT, designated Byzantine fault tolerance, but essentially Byzantine actors are ones that don't support the network, that could be acting even maliciously against the network, and that's the way that they create their consensus and potentially reject or accept information. The one thing that Neo has made clear is that they're sacrificing scalability, they're sacrificing rather decentralization in lieu of scalability at the beginning. They've made it very clear at what stage they plan to decentralize their nodes, and that they're going to have a full explanation of their plans to do so. But right now they're running 7 nodes that they're running internally. It's pretty centralized, but they're doing so that they can scale, produce solutions, and get Neo ready for market adoption without having to wait for this huge decentralized network to constantly update itself. Obviously, you're seeing that, for example, Ethereum takes years to do updates. Neo, as a much younger project, is sacrificing their decentralization to push forward their market adoption and the different facets of their product that they need for market adoption. So that's why they have 7 consensus nodes managed by the Neo Council, and that as they continue to try to add some, we'll see more decentralization come into this project. But they've made it pretty clear that decentralization is something they're sacrificing at the beginning, and decentralization in how many nodes they're running and what those nodes, who they accept as node runners. But in the future, they plan to really decentralize this whole effort. These are the partners that have already volunteered to run nodes, which is KPN, one of the biggest telecommunication companies in the Netherlands, City of Zion, the biggest Neo community, Fenbushi Capital, Wanxiang Blockchain Lab, the biggest, most successful blockchain evangelist and VC in China. So they already have a squadron here of big organizations that are going to run their decentralized consensus nodes. So we know that we're going to get more nodes that are not run just by the Neo Foundation, or the Neo Council rather. They're saying that, you know what, this is a new emerging technology, and for people who don't understand technology development, there's always weird little bugs and there's always weird kinks to work out. As we've seen in projects across the board, there are little things that get worked out, and when you have development over the course of years, it's just inevitable that some little mistakes will be found. I mean, look at how many errors have happened on the Coinbase sort of servers. They're a nightmare with what's going on. But Neo is just showing that instead of trying to put up invalid information and then try to reverse it or invalidate or fork the record or whatever you have to do to sort of undo blockchain transactions, they were saying that they just sort of paused their block production in an attempt to resolve their edge case issues. So they've located what they believe is the fix, and they've been testing it for weeks now on the test net, and that right now they're trying to deploy it on the main net. So that's when their fix is coming out. Again, just staying on the news will help you really get your head wrapped around what the real issues are facing a project. There's always hiccups. There's always, no code is perfect. All code has errors, all code. And so there's just a matter of iteration and development. And that's why you're seeing Neo taking the time and trying to be, instead of producing errored information, they're slow down the production of their blocks in order to fix any different errors that might occur before they occur. So I think it's pretty responsible what Neo's doing. I love the way that they're putting forth information, just trying to squash FUD that comes out and really set the record straight, which is a critical aspect here of understanding what to pay attention to, guys. It's all about understanding what news to pay attention to in the blockchain world. And so essentially what they try to underline here is that, you know, all of this information, all of it is publicly available and was published a long time ago. This is not new stuff. This is all stuff where if you research Neo, you should know it, you should be aware of it, and it should not freak you out. So I hope this going through this note from Da Hongfei helps you guys. If anyone's worried about their Neo investment, don't be. Neo's a really strong project. They have so much going for them, and that this sort of FUD that popped up from this person who's just trying to get some Twitter followers, it really disappoints me that the internet hopped on it so drastically, and that they really rallied behind this person who's just FUDding around something that doesn't deserve to be FUDded over. Thanks so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Of course, if you did, don't be afraid to smash up that like button. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought of this review. Of course, if you really enjoyed the content, don't be afraid to share it. I'm Elio Trades. This has been your FUD TV Daily Update. We enjoyed having you with us. We thank you so much, and we'll catch you very soon on the next episode.